We're back. It's time to react to the Star Citizen Live Q&A Tech Talk with Sean Tracy. This apparently has some good points and it has some stuff about 4.7, I believe. 4.7 is in Evocati right now, so that means it's going to be coming out to the PTU and all testers and all waves in a couple of days, maybe next week. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm really paying close attention to this patch because it's very interesting. There's so much coming with it that's like bothering me that I need to actually keep locked in, so I'm going to be locked in on this one.
Welcome to Star Citizen Live Tech Talk with Sean Tracy. I'm your host, Sean Tracy, and...
What?
Are you? No.
And I'm your guest, Jared Huckabee.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I got a new implant up here. It's kind of vibrating when I talk, and it's being really weird to me.
He looks different all the time. Like, guys, don't even get me started. Like, Jared looks different all the time, bro. And see, he's getting teeth implanted, which means he's actually a cyborg. He's a cyborg. This guy is a cyborg. Don't even stop. Don't stop. He's a cyborg.
I don't think it's secure.
I'm just
properly.
teasing you like you're going bionic.
This show's called Tech Talk with Sean Tracy. Now, Sean Tracy is the Senior Director of Tools, and what is your title? Is changed?
Actually, it's changed. Yeah, it's changed because they keep running out of words for
You do have one of the
different titles that doesn't come into executive because I do not want to be in that C-suite. I'm quite happy where I am. Just below it and helping out with the developers because I like working
sounds
with dev. I
Canadian.
like keeping my hands on stuff.
He sounds very Canadian. Bro said helping out. He said out like very Canadian. He said very Canadian.
So it's Managing Director of Technical Operations, which is a big, long title that just brings together tools, technology, animation technology, character technology.
The scope of his work is not nearly as broad as Ben was. So one of the things that continuously challenges this show in our effort to improve as we go along is properly conveying and identifying the topics that are appropriate for our guest for the show. So we thought we'd do a little thing. Look at that.
Ooh, topics, engine, editor, tools, animation, character tech. Ooh, okay.
That's going to pop
new.
up from time to time. Today's topics are questions and situations and improvements and whatnot related to the engine, which is Star Engine, the editor, which is the thing with the interface for the engine where everybody makes their stuff, all the various tools that allow all of our stuff to connect, whether you're using Blender or 3D Max or whatever. Big focus on
Oh, they use Blender for Star Citizen? Hey, look at
and then,
that.
of course,
I know how to use Blender.
Yeah, and it's just because I'm helping. It's just because I'm helping. I can't take anything away.
What I need to learn is I need to learn how to rip the files from Star Citizen into Blender. I can do it with Unreal Engine because Unreal Engine is easy to break. You can go into Unreal Engine, pull out like assets from games, and then map them out in Blender. I need to figure that out for Star Citizen because if you do and you get a 3D printer, you can start 3D printing stuff. And if I am looking at getting a Bamboo Labs 3D printer, so I need to figure it out.
From Sylvan's work that's going on with VR, which is fantastic and it's great stuff. But by no means am I doing nearly the hands-on work that he's doing, and I'm just involved a little bit.
Let's just be real plain up front. The overwhelming majority of the questions were not on the topics or for this person, but people like to try. So we're going to get into the questions that were appropriate. And the first question we have was about the character customizer expansion. This was actually about 8 different questions that we've all sort of combined into one here. Will we be able to edit body type, height, weight?
Bro, okay, look. Star Citizen is a visual masterpiece like outstanding. I haven't seen anything better than it in terms of just a visual masterpiece and the texture depth in the game, right? Like there's a few things that beat it, especially when it comes to an MMO game, right? But the character customization is ass. There's not enough options. There's not enough, even with the facial features and all of these things. Yes, we have all these tools. You can change a lot of things on the face, but it's not enough. Bro, everyone looks the same. Everyone has the same body type, the same height type. Everything is the same. I hate that. I freaking hate that. And if you look at most characters, even when you do your changes, people still almost look identical when they take off their helmets, right? We need a lot more changes and I feel like an easier tool to use to get the desired results you want, right? I feel like we need that. So we need to fix it. Okay, I want to be 7 foot tall and be freaking the same size as a freaking Vandal. Okay, let me be the same size as Vandal and have a pot belly the same size as Santa Claus. You know what I'm saying?
Scars, cybernetics, image-based face creation,
Cybernetics.
Talk to us about the future of the character
Imagine
custom.
we can put our faces, a picture of our face, and it transplants onto our character. I think the thing is, right, I do think cybernetics comes in after the death of a spaceman. Right now, it doesn't make sense, but the death of a spaceman means in the future, let's say you break your arm and you have to get it amputated, then you can get a cybernetic arm. So I feel like that should come near the end, near 1.0.
All right, so it's a great question, and all of the topics that they brought up there have been brought up by Chris. So the short answer is yeah. When? Wow.
The answer is yeah. When? Wow, bro, what are you doing, bro? Bro, that's crazy. That's the craziest way I've seen any of the devs put it. The answer, yes. When? Wow, bro said wow. He didn't even have any words for it. He said wow. Crazy, bro. He summarized the development of Star Citizen.
There's a lot of pieces to that. So one of the things that is coming sooner than it is later is scars, and we call it's the feature and the technology of it.
What scars? What is the big thing about like at this point? Don't add it in. Like that's so surface level. Like not how many people have like I know people do have scars. I'm not saying people don't have scars, especially in their face and things, but I'm saying how many people have scars and want to put scars on their character? It doesn't really add, you know? It doesn't really add too much.
Is blood, sweat, and tears is what we call it, right? So the characters can bleed, so they can sweat, so that they can cry. And what that does bring you is some
I like the sound
support
of
for the
that.
characters, and that's what's actually really critical to have scars and things like that.
So, he doesn't mean scars as just a cosmetic scar. He means scars as in when you get attacked, you get injured, you get scars, you get bruising, you get bleeding, you can cry. But why am I crying? Hold on. Why am I crying? Who did something to me? Did they give me a Drake ship? Did they force me into a Drake ship? Is that why I'm crying?
That starts getting into, so the tech enables this, but that starts getting into design discussions like, okay, when does a scar get made, right? Does
When
a
you
scar
get
last
stabbed,
forever?
shot.
How long does it last? How does Death of a Spaceman work into
It lasts
scars,
until
blood,
you
sweat,
die and
tears,
have to
these kind
regenerate.
of things. So I think there's a lot of great conversations to come for that, but it will be completely enabled. So we're going to be able to put a character in, just put the scar on them, looks great. But as far as that being a dynamic thing that happens when a player is playing, again, we've got to have design discussions to see exactly how that would work out. But the tech would absolutely allow.
But I feel like it doesn't really matter because when you have a scar, if you put a scar on a character when you just create the character, that's a scar that was put there when you got your your helix, your DNA helix, when you got that like into the system and now it's saved to restore you and regenerate you, you're gonna regenerate with that scar all the time. Any scar you get beyond that point, you don't necessarily keep it because it's not what you saved on your regeneration helix, you know? No, 100% it does add like depth and story. But I feel like there has to be like limits of it is there going to be a way where you get to choose what scars you do keep? And is it a thing of if you get a scar today and your character doesn't die for a week, 2 weeks, a month, the next time you regenerate, you keep that scar. But sometimes people might want to get rid of the scar. So there has to be again an option wheel of like severity and when you keep what from what severity, you know?
The body question is a bit of a bigger question. And
How? It's
already been a
basic.
mandate that Chris has put forward that he
It's
wants to be able to
basic
have
for every
custom
game.
bodies. Now, I'm not going to talk about the height adjustment because the height adjustment is a different problem than is the, I call it thin fat variations. So thin fat variations have been around for ages and ages and ages.
Right.
And the old way of doing it is you literally have a thin one, you have a fat one, and you kind of blend in between all of them, right? As you guys know, we have a really, really sophisticated system in DNA within the face. What I'd like to develop and what we are beginning to develop now is DNA for the body. So DNA for the body would give us basically all the same abilities that we have within the face, giving a massive amount of ranges of body
that would be
types that you could
crazy.
blend in between, depending on different controllers or whatever you'd want to do. So that's where Chris wants to take this. Now, there's so many challenges, guys, because it's not just about doing the body.
Okay, right. Here, okay. CIG, you're making a masterpiece and it is great, but you can't say it's such a challenge when it's basically one of the first things most games, especially MMOs, deal with. Okay? It's such a challenge. Why is it such a challenge? the system you built should be able to support this even at a lower level. I feel like we can't say it's such a challenge when it's across the board the norm. Across even the system, like the Star engine should be strong enough, powerful enough, and have the tools embedded in it to do these things and not make it such a challenge. So I'm not gonna just like say, okay, they said it's such a challenge, I'm gonna just accept that. I feel like we have to have a discussion about that. Like it can't be that much of a challenge.
I think a lot of people think about the customization. They see a guy standing there in an outfit and they're like, cool, that should just work. I agree, but that amalgamation of a character is like 12 assets, all independent. If I were to restart this game again, I would make every body the exact same topology, every shirt on top of it the exact same topology, so that we could do those blending kind of things. But that's why we've got to utilize something like DNA and a Raptiformer on top of it to be able to do that. But so you guys are aware, when we mark up a hair or we mark sunglasses, toques, or anything around the face, it takes some time. It's a lot like skinning. We have to mark up the vertices to say how much or how little do you move, how do you move, whether it's elastic, whether it's a rigid. It takes some time. We would have to do that then with every single body asset. And just to give you some idea, we are nearing 1,200.
But there has to be a way to almost automate it though, where it's like a system that does it for you based on the numbers and digits you give it, you know?
Body type assets within the PU, it might even be higher. That's the last I checked. 1,200 assets. So we're talking a lot of stuff over many, many years, and they're all in different states of, where's the mesh, LODs, face orders. It's tricky. So the things that go on the face to make DNA work, we know the vert order of every single one of those faces, and we know the vert order of the attachment, so we can move it. But if we have all these assets on top of a body, we don't know that. So basically, we have to make a Protoss body, like we have the Protoss head, which is the mass average. Then we have to mark up every single asset that would go on top of it to move appropriately within all those ranges. So it's just a lot of work.
From what he's explaining, it does sound a lot of work, and I feel like what he's explaining is they made a few mistakes back in the day when they were starting the engine and starting the way they were building the game, and now it's biting them in the ass because they don't have the headroom they need to make these things more dynamic. Right, okay, but then you're telling me it's a lot of work, but it's something that would boost the fidelity and boost the love for Star Citizen, right? It's a lot of work, yes, but doesn't that to me sounds like something that could be more of a priority than some of these other things we're getting in the game right now? Because at the end of the day, the biggest part of it and the biggest part of Star Citizen or any game in general is connection and connecting to the game you're playing. And a lot of people find that connection through your character and connecting with your character, your avatar. So giving us more customization options will, one, draw more people in from the outside, and number two, give us who are in the game already a better connection to our avatars, getting us in the mindset of when Dead of a Spaceman comes in, I want to be a lot more careful. I want to play smarter, giving us a better universe and better interactions as players in this universe.
The first step, but it's a question I think a little bit later. First step is going to be something like Starware, right? And then we need to be able to look at the body adjustment.
Starware, what's
It's a question a
Starware?
little bit later on as well. The other place that we are able to use this is on new types of bodies. And what do I mean by a new type of body? Well, I mean things like a quasi-grazer. I mean bodies like a worm. I mean bodies that don't have many attachments yet. We can start doing some stuff with those. So having,
What do you
we
mean
like
by
to call
that?
them DNA creatures, makes a lot of sense. But there's a ton of challenges, and we've started sort of the investigations into it. So that's body, and I realize this is a very long-winded answer, but that's a lot of questions in one. Oh, cybernetics. Cybernetics much easier. We actually have characters
How is it much easier? How is it much easier? Ain't it like almost the same thing?
that use cybernetics already. There's some Battaglia within the PU, and there may or may not be some within Squadron as well that we've used that. So to do it on a character is pretty straightforward for us. It actually relies on the underpinnings of Starware to work really well. Because Starware will be able to adapt to different arms, different lengths of like. There's a whole bunch of stuff that will come with those attachments. So I think that's shortly to come. There's no tech stopping us now from the.
But why can't we use that same system to create the bodies? Well, I guess it won't work long term. It will work for like now, but long term it won't work. But it's like y'all, you're giving me some back and forth here. You know, I don't like this.
Cybernetics of it. The question then begets, can you take it off? What happens to FPS gameplay when you take your right arm off?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right?
that's true.
There's some questions to be answered within.
It could
take
be
off your
just
arm, you can't
cosmetic,
shoot.
but that would not be a very Star Citizen approach.
Yeah, but how ridiculous would characters look running around okay, yes, you can put a gun in your left hand, but right now, all of our animations all very
Is it
much expect that
right
you're
arm?
holding that weapon like
Yeah.
this. So they're just running around like this.
Like that, yeah, it doesn't make sense.
That's not really going to work out. Could we do it with NPCs? 100%, right? No problem. And I think you'll see a lot of that in the coming year for NPCs actually using that kind of stuff because it's there, and we do. a lot
So
of
they
it.
already have cybernetics.
So that is
So they decided, let's skip over giving people the ability to make their characters a lot more personable, and let's go straight to cybernetics. Oh yeah.
cybernetics.
Image-based face creation.
Yeah, I mean, I love this conversation. So this is near and dear to my heart because, of course, when we go sit down on a scanner, as you have, right, and we spent a good time, we got you to shave, which was
I shave semi-regularly.
yeah.
It just usually comes back by the time
we got
the
you
show
to
has-
shave. So when we scan ahead, we need to scan the teeth because we do give you the actual teeth of the character. Because if you put somebody, this is gonna sound weird. If you put somebody else's teeth in somebody else's mouth, it doesn't
We
look
do
right.
give you the actual teeth of the character.
Yes, we do. Yeah, absolutely. They can check in DNA. It always does it. It's cool. That's all fine and dandy, but we can't have people do that at home. Not the dental dentist. You
Yeah,
can do
yeah.
that for your own fun if you want, but in terms of scanning, nobody would want to do that. So there are ways to get the image projected out onto a character, but people have tried this before in games, and I reference a very specific project, NBA 2K15.
Yep.
Nah, but you can't look at NBA. Whoa, stop it. That was done. NBA, never ever in your life give me 2K, FIFA, any of those games as references because those are the laziest developers on planet Earth. Those developers would scratch their butts, sniff their fingers, and press one key and say, I'm done for the day. Those are the laziest developers on planet Earth. Never, ever use them as an example. Let's talk about new games. Let's talk about new devs like Where Winds Meet. Where Winds Meet, bro, I can get SpongeBob. My character can look like SpongeBob, Michael Jackson. It can look like me. Where Winds Meet, you can do anything. Just put the picture in the freaking face model thing, and it will literally give you the like straight up. It will give you the character that you put the picture in with. So stop the cap here. Stop. We do not look at 2K. We do not look at 2K. That is not the example here.
Go ahead and Google it now. NBA 2K15 facial scan or face scan, or yeah, NBA 2K15 face, and you'll see the results, and they're very unfortunate. Those results. So if you're gonna do it, it needs to work super freaking well because
Bruh, nah, look, guys, I gotta show you this now. Nah, nah. We got Michael
so
Jackson,
many cool options in here.
John
Even
Wick,
gets pretty crazy. So here's the Yoda one that I have. This is Yoda V.
and freaking,
So for
where's SpongeBob? Where's
instance,
Sponge
this is the
Booby?
popular tab, and this is
Like, look at this. Like, and this is all from pictures that people imported into the game and then did a few tweaks. It is possible. It is very possible. Okay. Let's not use 2K as our freaking like bar. That's not the bar. That's the lowest bar.
again, you're going to contort your own players' faces, and that is not something that people, as funny as it is, it's not something you want running around in the verse. So the only time we would do it is if we could guarantee those results. Now, DNA kind of takes us that direction. So what I think is much more interesting is taking a FOIP capture or a webcam capture or even just an image capture and driving DNA as close to that position as possible.
Right.
And then bringing in whatever texture makes sense for that. Like you get the closest you can.
The search analytics for 2K15 just went up.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I
now
actually used
2K
that
is just
feature
not.
in
It's not the bar.
WWE 2K20.
Did it work good?
Yeah, I got it. Well, I was able to cover like the bottom half with a beard and stuff like that, but for the most part, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't mess up too bad?
No, you could tell it was sort of me.
Oh, that's
underneath.
good.
More
Okay, cool. I honestly, I thought they gave up. I thought
No, they
just
haven't.
bailed on it.
It's
They
gotten
did for a
better
couple
over the years.
though,
A
I
lot
know
of
that.
games have gotten better.
So maybe again, whether resolutions are higher. But anyways,
But that's the thing is like, I feel like you shouldn't, especially as a dev who's creating something as big as Star Citizen, you're giving me references from 2015. Gang, this is 2026. Games didn't stop getting produced in 2015. There's tech has evolved, and that's why sometimes it's like I can see the vision of Star Citizen tech, and some of the tech that we have right now in Star Citizen is way beyond anything we have in the market. But some parts of the tech, they're still thinking we're stuck 10 years ago. Gang, creation has moved on. Some stuff in Star Citizen is still behind. Don't give me modern day like technology references. Okay, 2015 is literally 11 years ago. Damn. But it's 11 years ago, gang. We need to stop the cap.
Like, I think that's a very reasonable way that we could do this. Is it going to work? I don't know. Haven't tried it, but I hope to get there.
Yeah, I think the faceware thing is probably the FOIP thing is probably the right thing, because you can get all the points in the structure from that,
Exactly.
and then alter the structure,
but
and then just find the
people's
the
camera
sensor.
quality
Get
is
people-
gonna be-
you get people half the way to.
Yeah, and I
making
think
their face
we've
right
got
there.
enough textures, especially now that we've done the new scan set and we've got like 60 or 70 of the new materials and all that in, plus the skin tinting. You can actually approximate somebody's skin tone pretty close. And there's a
Yeah,
whole
but
bunch
it's
of
gonna
algorithms.
be like if you have a bad camera, you're playing on a laptop or something, and the camera's not great. You're not gonna get that crazy good picture unless you're able to import a picture from a phone. I feel like not everyone has the camera. Like I have a decent camera. I think it's like what is it? It is a 2K camera, so it's like it's decent, but like for other people, it might not be the best, and not everyone has perfect lighting to get everything illuminated properly.
Because, again, I work a lot on the technology that enables the developers. That should be my title, I'm your developer's favorite developer.
Let's talk some male-female model parity, if you will. Why are the male and female player models so different in terms of bugs and feature support?
We just talked a little bit, I mentioned it, the player heights, so height adoption. The reason we have different heights between male and female is we have different rigs. We have identical human rigs, but they are different heights and they've got different controllers, different offsets, all these different things. So that means that their assets actually get skinned independently. We also have different geometry in some cases. Like we take parity pretty seriously. Like we've made sure that when an armor goes out, it's got both versions. And we don't go over the top with the female version's massively different than the male version. It's darn close.
I've noticed that. That's one thing. Like, bro, I'm just so happy that Star Citizen is not a Gunner game. Like, Star Citizen is so far from a Gunner game. It just calms my soul. When we see the differences between male and female armor, it's not that big. They don't say, oh, because it's a female armor set, we need to give it a huge bust. We need to make sure you can see the boobs. I love that. Because you can barely tell. Like, you can barely tell. When everyone's in armor, you can't tell if it's a woman or a male. They take off the helmet like, oh, look, it's a woman. I love it, okay? I love the fact that they're not pandering to gooners and they're not making it a gooner game.
So we have one, it's called a data record. We have one record, and then depending on what skeleton that record goes onto, it will go down a different path of geometry in that record. So for example, we just set a tag, it says female, and we have other tags like hanging. If it's on a hanger, it looks like the hanging version. If it's in a locker, it looks like the locker version. So it goes through this little tree of sub-geometries, we call them. So yeah, that's why it happens.
How many tools would you say you've made, and how have they accelerated development?
Well, honestly, if you count how many tools I've made, it's not nearly as many as how many CTG has made, right? And we're easily hundreds and hundreds of different tools, scripts, because it's like, what's a tool, right? Is it an executable? Is it a Python script? Is it a Python script within Maya? Is it a Mel script in Maya? Is it Max script? We've got so many. TechArt has a whole bunch. We've got CTG tools, we've got engineering tools, we've got designer tools, we've got production tools, I've got my Frame.io to Jira tool recently. So there's honestly probably upwards of 1,000. Then we have a newer team, a little bit newer, right? Montreal Tools, and Montreal Tools works on Starchitect first of all. That's been discussed quite a bit, I think, especially with the new planets on the way. And that's going to be the way to propagate the locations out in a less manual way than we've been doing it, because it's the only way that we're going to be able to scale. But that is when things are going to ramp up like crazy locations.
Yeah, once they get freaking Starchitect in, and they can literally just automatically and automate the whole POI thing, and we can actually It's going to bring exploration back. It's going to bring a lot more things to do, more outposts, more station, things we can just go out and do. It's going to be beautiful because the moons are too empty. The star systems are too empty. And Star Trek is going to just fix all of that.
Wise. That's going to get a lot
even
faster.
even beyond what they have. I mean, we just delivered
Yeah.
2 star systems in the same calendar year.
Yeah.
This is going to take us to the next level. of
Exactly, and it's all
productivity.
part of Genesis, which is great. So they're working on that. They also work on some density profilers in the engine. We're also working on a system called Tiny Machine, which is a smart asset system. I don't want to get too into details on it, but smart assets are cool. It's basically as you move something around the environment, it actually has contextual awareness of where it's doing, what it's doing. Just a super simple example is if I put a ladder up to a wall, it'll adjust to that wall depending on what that height is. So then that way, level designers, it's not like, oh, I need the 10-meter ladder, I need the 15-meter ladder. I need the They just put a ladder there and
it
it's
just goes
tall
poof.
enough and it works, right?
Right.
Like that's kind of the idea with Tiny Machine, but it'll go much, much broader than that. So I think that'll append
It'll
to
speed
Star
up
Trek.
creation
But
of,
that's
like,
all kind of within its
zones
own
and
wheelhouse.
environments.
And then even beyond that, we have like online tools, online services tool team, the OST, and the live tools team, which works on a tool in our backend called Bootstrapper, which is basically the way that we run our environment without having to send it up to AWS. So you can kind of run the environment locally. Now, it's getting harder and harder to do that
'Cause it's getting bigger.
our universe is bigger and bigger. So
Yeah.
trying to run those servers on just a local PC
It ain't gonna work.
can take a lot of memory.
When you put those self-adjusting ladder and stuff in, will they still yeet people out of their ship and across the galaxy?
Yep.
I hope not.
They better not, because if I climb up a
But
ladder,
you
I
know
don't
what
want to
that
go
comes down
vroom.
to, and it is a thing that this fixes, is that comes down to different implementations. So like, okay, somebody made a ladder entity at some point 6 years ago. Now somebody made one 3 years ago. Now somebody made one 2 years ago. And this one uses this one uses this one does. It unifies everything. So it just makes all of them are
The
easy
same.
to play. So you just
Right.
use this one. It's the only implementation that'll happen. And that way, when you fix stuff, it fixes it on everything and not just on
One thing, right? Yeah.
couple place ones.
Had quite a few questions about Star Wars. We've name dropped it a few times, but not really.
Yeah,
an
what
update.
is
We've been
Star
talking about
Wars?
this for
Sure.
a while now. What can you tell us about where it's at?
Yeah, we have a super rigid schedule now. And actually, I got involved just a couple weeks ago.
Is that what
just
made the
to
helmets?
check in on it because, I'll be super open about what happened. We made all the content. Tech Art kind of did everything, but was lacking a bit of engineering support and a bit of design support to finish it off. Now, that's all been addressed. There's a strike team all back together. They've got a really, really good schedule. It's not long. I'm not going to say exactly when, as that'll be a roadmap or a Rich thing to talk about. He knows when it is, but it's within the year
Ooh,
to get
okay.
that out to the players.
But what is it?
And a big part of it, the community for that.
Is
that
it
was
the helmet
great.
stuff? Is it like
they got this invisible
physicalized?
undersuit by accident? Is what happened, and this invisible undersuit kind of gave them some of what Starware is meant to do.
Okay, right. It is kind of the helmet thing, but what it is, like you just said, the invisible undersuit. So basically, from the lore and all the magic you guys have been telling me, you could find this invisible undersuit, right, out there in the world, and if you put it on, it allowed you to put on your armor, and you could also put jackets over your armor. You could put little design pieces, so you could wear armor and have your jacket, have your helmet, like a hat on, and all these other things. So you could be basically have a lot more better customization on your outfits. That's what the invisible undersuit did.
People loved it, and of course they loved it. I was seeing jackets on armor,
Yeah.
armors on T-shirts, and
Yeah.
awesome, cool, super cool. But I see people saying, "Oh, just give us back the undersuit." Like we don't want to.
Hack
We
it.
don't want to half-ass the feature, right?
Right.
Like let's not just half-ass it. Let's get the full Starware out there to you guys. So designs come in, engineering support's already in, so they're already working together. A small change happened once we got the designers involved. It was just splitting up. It was literally some really simple stuff, like splitting up the cuffs of the gloves, because the undersuit is like one suit, and we want to chop it into gloves now. So
Right,
there's a
okay.
couple pieces of it that required a
Wait.
little more content work.
Are we gonna have to get gloves now in our undersuit? Like we'll have to collect the undersuit arms and then the gloves as well?
But it was only a month or two of content work, so we're not talking the end of the world. Again, I'm not giving a month or two estimate on when it's coming out. That it could come out before the end of the year. But yeah, the team's all back together, and we've got the right amount of support that needed to happen.
Why do you hate fun, Sean?
Well, I hate fun because it would give a false representation of what you could do. And if something that they could do with the invisible undersuit as a bug doesn't work in Starware,
Yeah, it's gonna
they're
make it
going to
look
then
bad.
want that back, right, within Starware, whatever that may be. And that
it might
might
not be
be a
possible.
design-breaking thing.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give false
Exactly. Don't get used to
false
something that shouldn't be
representation,
there.
I guess, towards it. But so so it's clear. I think we've talked about it at Citizen. Armando had gone over it a little bit. So it does really go quite a long way in the customization of the thing. And one other quick little mention about it that's going to be really nice is for players as well as for developers is once we get those assets all separated in the Starware fashion, and a lot of this has to do with that data forge record alignment and structure. Once we get all that, we can mark up those assets or set information on those assets so that our procedural systems can start using it properly. If I know a t-shirt makes sense in a warm environment, I know sunglasses make sense in a warm environment, I know shorts make sense in a warm environment. If I'm spawning NPCs procedurally,
They should
probably
also have the
t-shirts or
warm
shorts
things,
or
right?
sunglasses
That
or whatever.
makes sense.
Or if it's sunny out, then I can just do something.
right. Right now
it's
it's
these kind of pieces of markup that'll get really interesting.
Every NPC is a manual
Because
loadout.
think about it, most of the NPCs, you go into a freaking, you're on yellow or something, and they're wearing like regular clothes. They don't even have helmets outside. Like it's actually, yeah, it makes sense. It would make sense.
How is creature tech coming along? New beasts this year?
So I don't know about creatures this year necessarily
some
because
creepy crawlies.
right
I need some
now
creepy
I'm
crawlies.
like from the CTG side. I work for both projects, so sometimes I don't even know which one is for what. I don't know of new creatures for SC this year. There's just always a creature on the way in somewhere within the pipeline. Had been a lot of the Yolandi, had been the different
Yormandi.
Yorlandi. What am I?
He doesn't even know what the Yormandi's name is. He called it Yolandi. What is Yolandi, bro? What is a Yolandi?
saying?
Yorlandi is who we met at the. Never mind.
There's always some creature in the group. So creature tech-wise, I mean, we're in this state where we are where it just works like a character. They're very similar. But as I mentioned before, we're looking into all the scalable skeletons as well as creature DNA so that we can give some massive amounts of variation to these guys.
each
Because
one, right.
it's one thing to pre-can a couple assets and to spawn them like randomly or so,
Procedurally, right, yeah.
but it's a way different thing to have the range of like a DNA system or something
Right.
like that.
Yeah, because the thing is like even when you have the quasi grazers, if they're on a warm planet, they might have the dark brown fur. If they're on a cold planet, they'll have white fur, like kind of like polar bears, brown bears, all of these things where there's going to be different variations of them. But most definitely, we definitely need more aliens because I feel like a lot of the planets, they feel bare, and they're like, apart from waiting for a murder hobo or someone to come do PvP against you or whatever, when you're out in the world, there's not a lot of like things going on. I would like to be out there doing like my FPS mining, or I'm doing my rock mining, and then a creature or a herd is passing by and they try to attack me or something and I have to defend myself. I would like to do things like that. Like the worms are nice, but they're still very basic. I would like something like that. Or even a herd of quasi-grazers moving across somewhere and then there's a few bulls in there that will attack you to try to protect their herd. Like intelligent aliens, because at the end of the day, like, we are in space, and the fact that the only aliens we have right now is the Vandal, which are very, very new, by the way. Like, they're very new in the verse, like actual physically. It's like, come on, are you telling me we didn't find anything else out there? And when we get Starkitect and Genesis working, I want to see aliens. You don't give me all these new beautiful biomes and tell me that they're empty. We need to see more aliens in there.
Systems need to be able to scale in the same kind of way. So that's where we're going. That's where we're heading. Is definitely that route. Now we're also going to be adding a bunch more boids, like a bunch more of the more simplistic creature, not a full, necessarily AI, but a critter that moves around that you can shoot and pick up, whatever.
Ooh, more critters.
Yeah. So that's kind of the state of creature.
Destructible foliage, vegetation. Can we chop down?
Why am I driving my Nursa and I'm hitting a cactus leaf and the cactus leaf is stopping my Nursa from moving? I should be able to plow through that thing and it breaks apart. And I don't know, the watery goo splashes on my windscreen and I need to use my wipers to get it off. We should be able to go out in, what is it called? Microtech. And if I see a tree, cut down that tree and use it to like fabricate and freaking what's it called, craft my a wooden set of furniture for my base. Okay, I'll be able to get a blueprint for a wooden set of furniture, go out there, cut down a freaking tree, tractor that tree into a box and refine it into tree shavings and use it to create myself furniture. Okay, is that too much to ask, CIG? Is that too much to ask?
Trees or run over vegetation like in the original CryEngine.
So no, you can't right now.
Okay.
Obviously,
Right
because
now?
people have probably driven their cars into the trees and stuff like that. Small ones, I think we just disappear sometimes, but most
They
of
do
them you just
disappear,
run
yeah.
into. So the original Crisis, so it's clear, was super ahead of its time. It used a cutter object. It was really cool, and anybody that does 3D modeling will understand a Boolean subtraction. And Boolean subtraction is a technique. You put one mesh kind of
top of
over top
another.
of another mesh, and you subtract the first
Yeah.
mesh from the operand, from the next mesh, right? And it creates a hole. And what's cool when you do that, you can project the UVs and get the material from the cutter object anyways. We don't do that anymore at all. That whole system is long gone. What we do
Why,
have
though?
is in Maelstrom, which is not quite rolled out, I think, to the persistent universe, but is
It's partially,
very
Maelstrom is
in
partially here.
use for Squadron 42. We have 2D procedural fracturable planes that come out of Maelstrom. We've got fracturable 3D meshes that can come out. Without the Boolean subtraction, you don't need to do that. It's much less heavy in the end.
System.
But Maelstrom will be the system we likely rely on for all
Right.
of that. Maelstrom is
So they're going to apply Maelstrom features to plants and vegetation and trees and things. That's gonna be nice because just think about it, guys. Okay, hear me out. Let's just think about it. Close your eyes for a second and let me explain this. You're flying and you're fighting a Polaris. You finally destroy the Polaris's thrusters and it's falling out of the sky into like atmosphere and it's falling over a forest on Microtech. And as the ship is falling, it lands onto the forest and then because it's carrying its forward momentum, all the trees in the area are snapping, breaking apart, flying around. There's dust everywhere. You can see the trees flying before it comes to a full stop and there's a whole bunch of trees disappeared out of the forest because the Polaris just scraped them all up. Think about it, gang. Think about it. Holy cinema. Holy cinema. Think about it, gang. That would be the coolest freaking thing ever, man. I can't lie, bro.
System for all kinds of different destruction, and I'm sure the community's heard a bunch about it. Physics talks about it and works on it all the time. And Chris is particularly involved and interested in Maelstrom. If you know, if you say the word nearby, he will give you the feature list and the documentation and everything that goes. For example, I'm working on another area of Maelstrom right now for a given character for armor destructibility in some sense. Now, this isn't a big feature that I'm about to roll out.
Armor destructibility. So you're telling me if they keep shooting my armor is gonna like start fracturing and falling off?
A specific character that has to have some armor break off. That's all. So we need to make that work, and we didn't have characters working with Maelstrom, so that's something that's starting to happen. So I expect that we will be able to break trees. I expect that
Bruh,
the
we
level of
have to
immersion
be.
we've always wanted out of this game will let us do that. But how that works with the planets and Maelstrom, I cannot say. That's going to be physics and planet tech, and they're going to have it out.
What about VR physical interaction? Is full physics-based VR interaction, grabbing, lifting, throwing objects, NPCs, part of the long term?
Yes, I've been saying this. If we're going VR, we want to go full out. I want to be able to put on VR gloves and pick something up. You know, if I want to strangle the NPC who's killing me, I can do that with my VR gloves and it works. I need that.
I would say it's part of the long-term vision, but how we get there is a whole conversation happening right now. VR is super new. It's super
it
new
is,
for
yeah.
us. It's just gone out in 4.5. Sylvan's done a phenomenal job on his own. to get that working. OpenXR, awesome, right? But no controller support, right? And it's like the first thing you want to do because already it's incredible.
Wait. Are people playing Star Citizen on VR with mouse and keyboard? How do you see your mouse and keyboard? How do you know what you're pressing? Like, I can press a few of the keys, but there's so many keybinds in Star Citizen. How are you going to be able to press all the keybinds? That would be devious to play. Star Citizen might be one of the only games where I'd actually allow them to lock me in and lock my consciousness in Star Citizen. It might be one of the only games I'll allow that, okay?
When you go into it, it's I'll just talk about sitting in a cockpit is cool enough, right? You're sitting in the cockpit and your mouse and keyboard like this, right?
Yeah.
But you see the character inside the cockpit is holding the joystick, holding the throttle, and you lean and stuff with the VR, and it sees you moving, and your character's moving inside and all of a sudden you're moving the mouse and
keyboard,
and it doesn't feel right. You want to have controllers, or you want to have your own actual joysticks or whatnot. The immersion it gives you, and the things you notice that you don't notice when you're just playing on a screen versus you noticing it in VR, it begs the need to grab it, to interact with it, to see hands, to move it around.
So we need hands.
Now, technology-wise, I mean, it's not an impossibly hard problem, and it's kind of solved in some cases, in some games. So a lot of these things, just like FOIP, it'll come down to our, not capacity, but our tolerance
For certain things.
wackiness, right?
Yeah.
Because again, as soon as you're driving the hands, because you could absolutely do this now. You could drive the wrists, the joint, anyways, that you would need to of the given hands, and you could drive them around.
But it
Think
would
of
look
what that would
weird.
look like, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Imagine you're like doing this. Oh, yeah. It wouldn't look right in the actual verse.
Guys running through the verse, like he could look like Superman.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff to solve,
Mm.
right? To make this so that it makes sense. Because we are totally unified in first person and third person rig. It's all the same thing. So we can't just show you one thing in first person, like your hand tracking and it
Exactly,
works and it
then
looks amazing.
on-
It's kind
in
of how
third
Half-Life
person, it
Alyx
looks
works,
crazy.
which is an incredible VR experience. Like that is a bar to achieve. People will see you in third person doing
Exactly.
these kind of things. So yeah, that's going to be a tricky thing.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it is something that we want Sylvan to be involved with. We want to start talking to design about, try to work out how this is going to work, because it's also not just about supporting one set of controllers. It's about supporting all the sets
Everything,
of
yeah,
controllers that
yeah.
are going to do it. So we've already had a tricky enough time supporting the gamepad, let alone these extraneous devices.
Imagine you're literally in Star Citizen and you're locked in. Your consciousness is locked in, bro. You bug out, and it's just a bug, bro. And or you get stuck in space, bro, and you can't backspace. Or your game crashes, and then now you're dead. You're dead. The game crashes, so you die.
If you've spent any serious amount of time with Chris Roberts, you said our tolerance for silliness and whatnot. It's never going to be just okay. It's never going to be, oh, that's enough. That's enough, and we can just
It's gotta
sit
be
there.
perfect.
100%.
We're gonna push. We're gonna push, and we're
To
gonna
the
keep
best.
pushing. We're gonna keep pushing. Occasionally, there'll always be somebody in chat talking about how are they still figuring this thing out in the year of our Lord 2026 and whatnot. And that's because this project doesn't end. If we all have our way, we are making this game and continuing this game well beyond 1.0, well beyond 2.0, 3.0,
It's gonna always
just
be
going on.
evolving, yeah.
It's like any other MMO. WoW's still going 20 some odd years later. It's like this. That's our aspiration. So when we talk about these things, it's not about, the end goal is not 1.0 and you
Exactly,
stop.
yeah.
And that's why sometimes the tense that we speak in can seem like it's out. We're already looking and planning, and the thing that
have
comes
to.
next, the thing that comes next, the thing that comes
But
next, and the thing that
gives
comes
us
next. So
like longevity.
yeah, at
to
this
think
point,
about,
it would be foolish to say no. It would never get to a point where you can grab things and interact with things.
Yeah.
I just hope that we get to that point before I'm like, I don't know, I got Alzheimer's or something. Like, bro, I want to be able to do that. Like, look, I'm only 26, gang. Please, before I'm 45, gang, let me play 1.0. Let me be able to pick things up in the verse with my VR console, bro. Before my body gets all rickety and stuff, bro. Like, please.
My dream is a nice little little tracker that I just want to be able to throw the bird without needing anything and I can just throw the bird.
We have to make decisions now that we don't regret later.
Later on,
It's happened a lot, right? Right? Where we go, no. 1.0 is just going to be this. So we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. It's going to be great. And then that changes. And we're like, shit, now I'm wrong. Now I'm wrong. I say it this way internally sometimes to people. You will eventually be made to be wrong, right? At some point. Just try to project yourself as far as you can so you're not.
You know, you've been here 14, 13?
13.
Yeah, 13.
Well,
I've been here,
just under.
you know, I've been here 11, going on 12 at this point. It's the number of times we've hit something because of a bad decision that was made 2 years,
before,
3
yeah.
years, 4 years, 5 years. And it was made back then with the best of intentions. Absolutely. It was made back then with all of the knowledge and experience and foresight that we could have had back
technology
then.
is just
And
moving
then you
so
just
fast. Like technology, like what? I think the first like touchscreen phone that like was massively available, I think I was like 7 years old when you got the first touchscreen phones that came out with the LCD screens that felt like you're looking through like you're touching a plastic wrapper. Like those were like, I was like 7, 8 years old, right? By the time I was 15, 16, we had iPhone 4s. Like we had iPhone 4s and 5 when I was 16, literally like 8 years later. And now we have flip phones, we have like transparent phones, we have all these things, we have projections, we have so many things. There's even hologram tech now, less than 10 years later. Like less than 10 years later. So like tech is moving too fast to make very concrete decisions that won't bite you in the ass. And that's just how it is across the board. It's not a CIG thing. It's just tech is moving so damn fast.
Or we can rework the inventory for the third time or the fourth time. And we don't accept it.
Yeah, that's where we end up.
If we can make something better, we're going to make something better.
Sure. We are progressing amazingly, and those tools people are part of the reason why. There is huge areas of this game that aren't getting the tooling it needs, because I'm sure developers are watching this going, my tool's total garbage, right?
Yeah, Star Citizen tools, they excel crazy in certain parts, but in other parts and other more basic parts, it's like, y'all are like a decade behind, I ain't gonna lie.
Because I hear that stuff all the time too, every day. But it really depends on the area. It really depends on the process they're in.
The area
and it really
you're
depends
talking
on what
about,
they're working on. One of the things I like to say a lot of the times is that people like to complain about editor stability, is what I hear a lot. I'm like, hey, do you play the client? They're like, no, I'm always running in the editor. I'm like, well, listen, the client's running in the editor. So the editor is no more stable than the game. So please make the game stable, and that editor gets more stable. You know, it's things like that. Like it's just the reality of the work that we do, that the tool that it comes into gets the blame. Copy build, the one I talked about on the onset. Copy build's slow today. Copy build's not working. Copy build this, copy build that. And it's never copy build. It's always a network problem, build store issue, patcher bug. You know, like it,
So
honestly,
it's never
a tough
the
job.
tool's
It's
fault.
a tough job. It's a tough job to take that kind of stuff, but it's also incredibly rewarding, because I was just doing some work today. I even said to the guy, just tell me it works. I need that dopamine hit. And realizing that, you know what, just in satisfying sometimes the request or the need of a developer, honestly gives me a sense of pride and joy and reward. So, you know, it's a great job to have, but it also can be tough.
Sean Tracy, make your game stable, 2026.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it for the show, everybody. Thanks for watching. That's Sean Tracy, our Managing Director of Technical
Operations.
and whatnot. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Jared. That's Sean. This has been Star Citizen Live. We'll probably see you next week, everybody. If not, we'll see you the week after that. Bye.